healing for me has really come with intention and choice, and recognizing that I have a choice. I actually do have the choice to rest, and I do have the choice to eat well, and maybe it doesn't, I'm on the furthest extreme of things where I have a certain specific type of diet, but it's because the quality of my life started to matter. It was like all, the achievements and trying to chase after all of that stuff. I think I was looking for happiness. I was looking to find some form of satisfaction, some form of validation that maybe part of my childhood trauma fed into a not enoughness. And I thought, if I could just become a chiropractor, if I could just help this amount of people, if I could just reach this amount of people, I would be happy. And eventually got there and realized I'm doing all of this stuff, and people were congratulating me for how well I was doing, but I wasn't happy. And so the chronic fatigue and really putting me flat on my back put me in a state of apathy and hopelessness, for sure. But also I was given information and supported in ways that showed me I had a choice, and I could work on how my mind was thinking. I could work on my emotions. I could work on what my body felt like. And have I got it right? No. It's not perfect. But I'm at the point now where I feel the healthiest that I felt when I was a child, I didn't really think about health. So the healthiest I've ever felt, right?
So a few things. I think one is this idea of choice. I think we do have choice up to a point, but sometimes you just have to accept, because you don't have a choice. You can't do shit, excuse the words, right? You're just stuck. So you can eat better, you can rest better, and you still don't get any better. And what then? And I think so many people have to deal with that. Even as I'm talking to you, as I commented just during the break, my brain's beginning to slow down, like the heat's getting to it. And so I'm almost like trying to imagine a cooling system in my brain to just sort of keep it steady, because it's slowing me down a bit. So I have to slow down my thoughts. And understandably that I'm missing some of what you're saying, because everything you're saying is so rich. There are about 5 things that come up every time you speak, and I'm just trying to hang on to 1 or 2, because all the rest just go into oblivion.
Right.
I think about the time thing also. I was aware I had about 2 hours, because I began timing my energy flow. Because I wanted to have control, right? And I think that's the other thing that comes up with all of us with this whole chronic fatigue or chronic illness. We want to control our lives. And I think the chronic illness slaps us back often, right? We want to control our lives, and it goes, I'll do what I need to do. I'll do what I want to do. The chronic fatigue says, you don't have much control. And then you literally have to just listen and let someone or your body control your life, right? Your mind doesn't. And that was a real lesson for me. I just had to surrender. I guess it's about surrender.
I think part of choice is choosing to surrender, because, when I think of the word, it makes me panic. It really does. It still does. It kind of makes me feel like, does this mean that if I surrender, I'm not going to have purpose, and I'm not going to have meaning, and I'm not going to be able to help the people I want to help? And so that's what my mind races on, right? Because my mind's associated the hustle culture and the thing with purpose. But, one of the ways that I surrender is if I'm in a flare-up and I have that internal battle, I kind of tell myself sometimes it's like being in an airplane and just falling out of it, and it's like it's going to stop at some point, and I just need to let it happen, and that's my way to kind of go, okay, here, it's exhausting to heal. My intention to heal is taking energy out of me, and I need to just like, okay, it's going to end,
So I was wondering, when you're falling out of the airplane, that metaphor is with or without a parachute?
I've got a parachute for sure. I think my parachute is kind of knowing it's the knowing it's going to end. And that can maybe lead us into to talk about affirmations, right?
Okay.
Because the parachute for me is kind of going, okay, just let it go, surrender. It's gonna come to an end, and whatever that end looks like, and for me in my case, and this is why I think affirmations are so personal. In my case, I kind of know it's going to most likely end in me either being like done and needing to be in bed for a long time, but then that also means that my body's resting and healing because it's not in that fight or flight mode.
Okay.
Because I can be in fight or flight mode in my bed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Do you know what I mean? And as someone who's struggled with depression, you can be flat on your back and you can be in the comfort position in the darkness and still be in fight or flight mode.
That's right.
So being, kind of saying to myself, okay, the flare up is going to end because now I know that it does, for me at least, but the conversation is obviously for people that kind of feel like what happens when the flare up doesn't feel like it's going to end, and I've been there.
That's right. Yeah, because I think that's so important, because you're talking about two different states, right? One is where you're basically in remission, you're doing okay, but you have flare-ups.
Yeah.
And the other is where every day you have the illness or you have that condition.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I was asking about the parachute, because for me at least, sometimes it got, I felt like if I surrendered, I would die. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was so scared of that.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
I get that.
Yeah, it was below all of that about acceptance and stuff. I just thought, I'm going to die. So I fought it with my mind. But my body kept going, your mind doesn't make a difference. You can have all the affirmations and all the good thoughts you want. Maybe it helps you feel a little better, but ultimately, body's in control, and you may die, you may not. And that to me was terribly scary.
When you made it through and realized that you didn't die, did that change what the definition of the parachute looked like?
With my mind and my anxiety, not for a very long time, not until I started getting a bit better. But in the depths of it, when I actually went to a doctor and the doctor said, do you have a will?
Yeah.
And remember that story? And basically I said, why? And he says, well, you're in a really bad way. Your systems are beginning to be affected and shutting down. I was really getting very, very scared, because I was thinking, okay, I can't fight it. And if I surrender, I'm going to die. So what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Okay. What did you do?
I had no choice. I just had to go along with it. Yeah. And basically I got very, very depressed, as you were talking about, because I just had a kid who was a few months old. I had a wife. Yeah. And I didn't want to leave him.
And I think we can take a step away from talking about the hustle culture and all of that, and maybe that could even be a privileged state. And it's, kind of go back to bare minimum of like, you've got family to feed, you've got a baby to take care of, you've got very basic responsibilities. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You're not sitting on a space of awareness at that pinnacle. You're sitting at food on the table,
security, basic needs.
Yeah. And I think that's it really does go through. It's tough, It's tough, and I think at this point I have to say to you, I feel like I'm made of strength and struggle. Like I'm made of strength in a sense of a lot of the lessons that I've learned over the last couple of months about my nervous system and regulating my nervous system, and watching my monkey mind and finally reaching a place of momentary stillness in my brain and feeling well. I'm also made of struggle, right? Where it's still a battle, and I think that's where maybe the term regulation plays such a big deal in my life, because I'm not just one thing, and it is with chronic pain, chronic fatigue. It is very, dependent on the heat, 100%. I'm currently in a flare-up. I haven't been in a flare-up for a long time. I've also just come back from holiday, so it was like I came back and I was like, I'm wonderful, and then it gets hot and I'm like, whew, this is tiring.
Yeah, right.
You know.